around lots. Can we do it ourselves? No. So we got together the world's best people and said, we are going to reinvent the entire telecom network from scratch. And we said, our goal is not a 10% saving, not even a 100% saving. Our goal is to reduce the energy consumption in 5 years in telecom networks by 1,000 times. So unless we think in those scales, impossible. So we've got partners who are IT companies, silicon companies, China's involved, India's involved. We need to get our minds together, the best minds in the world, think together, and even if we don't hit 1,000, we might hit 500. But fundamentally, that previous slide you saw, that if we go the way we are in telecoms, we'll run out of power. And Google, Facebook, all these companies use a lot of power. And I mean, people don't associate that much power with the telecom sector. Well, it's a reality for us. It's a cost imperative. It's an environmental imperative. And we hope that conferences like this will focus around this, make people aware, because consumers like you, especially, let's say the 70 volunteers, start demanding this from the service providers and say, guys, you've got to do something to make this different. So if there is a demand, if there's a push, everybody will do it. I'll give you enough examples on telecoms. Unilever, and I said about water, I'm passionate about that. So Unilever has come out with a product at 1,200 rupees, which does not use electricity. It's a water purifier. It's a crying need. They come out with a conditioner, fabric conditioner, which reduces the consumption of water when you wash clothes by about 60–70%. So it's not just doing good, but it's also making money and thinking differently because you got to conserve water. There's another example from e-waste is another big example, which is a huge health issue for all of us. And we all love our mobile phones. Do we know what we do with them? We just dump them. But you got to be responsible about them. And there's lots of regulations coming out to make sure that you are able to do it, otherwise there will be penalties on the producers. An example from Bangladesh of a company called Danone. So I'm glad that lots of people from France here, including my own company. So Danone partnered with Grameen Bank, which is founded by Professor Yunus, who's the father of microcredit. And they said the issue is nutrition. They can't afford it. So Danone, if they had come up with the same products from France or US or wherever and put it there, it would have been too costly and wouldn't have been right. But they created a new product. They created a yogurt called Shakti. For the Bengali, Shakti means energy. Very cheap, but with the right nutrients, the right calcium, in order to focus on the nutrition issue. And it's been a grand success, and they're making money and they're replicating it all over the world. And I would say that, how do we say this? I mean, I've been talking of some successes, there have been some failures. At some time, you remember Coca-Cola was in the dumps in India. For the local people in Kerala said they've taken away all our water. But now, as a result of all that fracas and all, everywhere where Coke goes, it's the policy, they are going to be water positive. And they make a public piece out of it, otherwise you lose brand. And collaborations are the right way to get ahead. Conferences like this are the right way to go ahead, where you need to collaborate to set the right standards. You need to collaborate. As you mentioned, I am also on the board of TERI, which works deeply in this sustainability. I chair their sustainable development group. And I'll give a little example from TERI. I mean, since I'm there, I can't not speak about it. So, for example, there is a certification for green buildings called LEEDs. But LEEDs assumes that in order to be LEED certified, you need to be air conditioned. Now, is that appropriate for everything? So, there's a little known fact for some of us people like, who were engineers is the best way to put it. 4 meters under the ground, and this might be of interest to the professors out here. 4 meters under the ground, the average temperature remains what is upstairs. So in Delhi, that average temperature under the ground is about 28 degrees. So if you come to TERI, under all our buildings, we've dug a 75-meter tunnel, and we blow air through it, and we have 100 rooms. It's comfort cooled at 28 degrees. It's not chill cooled without air conditioning, but the power requirement is only 5%. But it will never, that process will never get LEED certified because it's not air conditioned. So you're in a conundrum. So you need different standards for these. So we came up with the government of India called GRIHA. about sustainable habitat, which says unless you are 10% renewable energy, you don't get certified. So we are forcing behavior through standards. This is how we need to work together. And I said, don't look at it as CSR. Sustainability is not CSR, folks. It's about moving to DNA and practicing it in daily life. That's what it is. And in terms of conclusion, I said, businesses, especially multinationals, understand the opportunity. Stakeholders need to work together. And as we heard many times and many people said, governments need to step up with the right policies and the right environment, enabling environments to make it happen. Thank you.
Before I proceed to invite our chief guest, Professor N.S. Siddiqui, I could see some faces who have been supporting in organizing this conference for the past 5-6 months. Our support staff, led by Sri R.P. Singh, Mr. Harinar is there, Mr. Dinesh Kumar is there. So a big round of applause for our support staff. Now, sir, may I request Professor N.S. Siddiqui to address the gathering.
All the distinguished guests on the dais as well as in the hall. Today I am feeling a very strange situation. I would have been one of the hosts and not the guest. But today, Dr. Khurana, after saying that I am the guest or the chief guest, has changed my position completely, and I am feeling that I have been thrown out of my family. This is my family, Shaheed Bhagat Singh College, whether morning or evening, I belong to it, and that is my family. I am so happy that my college has been given this opportunity to show an example of sustainable development. Bhagat Singh Engineering College has shown its development, which is sustainable from 1974 till today, and shall be doing it in future. Instead of writing a paper for this conference, today I am here as one of the persons who has learned a lot during the last 3 days, and I am so happy that India has been selected and the Bhagat Singh College has been given this chance of organizing this very big event. The MSCD 12 has really given us a chance of having a large number of participants who have contributed their papers, thoughtful papers, to this conference. Actually, sustainable development is something that how we are utilizing the resources for the pleasure and happiness of the masses today, and we are still leaving a chance that our generations, future generations, will also be having more pleasure and more happiness from satisfaction because of the availability of the resources. This development has shown us that our forefathers, whatever they were doing in agriculture or industry, it has grown, having its impact even today, but then we have found that they left a lot for us, and so we have also to leave a lot for our future generations. All parents know that they have the greatest love only for their own family and kids. The whole universe must have this idea, and that is why sustainable development is needed, and we have to be very thoughtful in utilizing the resources, that we should not leave them in such a situation which is degraded situation, and our future generations, our children may suffer. They should be given the opportunity of utilizing better facilities than us, and this is how our technology is improving. We are utilizing many of these services today which were not available to our forefathers. In technology, today, whatever has been done is really marvelous. but I am hopeful that this technology will be further improving in future, and the utilization of the resources in the whole of the world will lead to great pleasure and happiness to the masses throughout the world. Today the poverty is a very big question in not only Africa and South Asia, as it's said by the authors of many books, but I think that poverty is the greatest disease or illness of this whole universe. I have seen people in USA, I have seen people in many other countries where I have visited. There are also poor people. It is not only India and African countries, but many other countries. We have to be very thoughtful about the welfare of the whole population of the world, and from that point of view, sustainable development will be achieved only when all the resources of the world are utilized in the most scientific way, most rational way, most productive way, in such a form that they are being available to all the people. I have been given the time which is between our food and hunger, which is a very, very delicate situation. And it is also, I think, a very great opportunity for the person who is here to leave very soon, so that the people may not be away from the food. The main objective of sustainable development is to provide food, and food of very good quality to the people. So quantity and quality are the two things where we are not talking of quantity but of quality. Quality of life, quality of food, quality of life means pleasure in all respects. And sustainable development must always aim and have this objective of providing pleasure to all the people. I hope that after the lunch, all the people will be more happy, and although they have been happier during the last 3 days, after learning so much in the conference, but food is also the last item which should be provided to the people to their satisfaction. I am really greatly honored to be here today, but I would like to take just one more minute about Dr. Khurana, the principal. I was lucky to have very good colleagues in both the morning and the evening college. I joined the college long time back. The day of the foundation of Bhagat Singh College was in 1967, when I was teaching in Dayal Singh College. But the founder principal of the college, Dr. M.P. Thakur, who is my elder brother, came to me and told me that, Hafiz, let us go to the new building which is being given to us. It was a school. I was not at all connected with Bhagat Singh College, but as Dr. Thakur, my elder brother, asked me to come, I went to the school building. And there we decided which room should be the office of the principal, which room should be the office of the college, and where the classes will be held. It was a school building which was given to us. After 2 or 3 years, he asked me to join Bhagat Singh College. I was selected by his selection committee. I have been in service of Saint Bhagat Singh College. And during the last 12 years of my retirement, I feel that I have become some guest of the college. And today they have made me the guest. I would like to say that really I am very proud that my college is coming up nicely. Its building is being renovated, and Dr. Khurana is doing a very marvelous job of looking after both the colleges, morning and evening. Once I lost him. He was appointed in UGC at a very big post. He became an official of UGC. But I requested him after 2 years that please come back to the college, because UGC